Hey, Slushy the Buckaroos. How the heck are you? You just like I didn't come back when I wanted to. Hey, how are you, man? It is 8:30 on a Saturday. I had an idea for a couple of cocktails. I've been going crazy. I've had ideas, but I haven't been able to get the ingredients together. But today I was able to grab a few things while I was at a doing a tasting at a local health food store. So I was able to buy some things I needed to make some simples and other things. Anyways, I digress. So I did a couple cocktails here. This one I'm going to call the almost, almost, we're close. Yeah. So a perfect Manhattan is 2 ounces of whatever your whiskey you're using, half ounce of sweet vermouth, half ounce of dry vermouth, and then your bitters, typically aromatic. So I wanted to take that in just a slightly different direction. The idea of a perfect, but again, I'm calling this the almost perfect Manhattan. So this is the idea of a perfect, but we're almost there. It's almost perfect. Because that's the thing, right? Nothing is ever perfect. Everything is always almost perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect anything. So the notion is just ridiculous, anyways. So here's what I got. So 2 ounces of the whiskey, half ounce sweet vermouth, half ounce dry vermouth bitters is a typical perfect. What I did with this one is I kind of went crazy on the whiskey. Um, I love the American single malt whiskey, but when you think single malt anything, whether you're talking about single malt Scotch, Irish, Japanese, any single malt whiskey, you're typically talking about drinking neat. They're not typically used for cocktails. And I have this American single malt that's amazing, and that I've drank it primarily neat. But I thought, well, with these flavors, the flavor profile this whiskey has, I thought it would make a great cocktail. It's just figuring out the right cocktail was the problem. So Swiss Grass Spirits, a worker-owned company. Let me show that to you. It's at 111.3 barrel proof release. I don't think they give me an age. I think it is a young whiskey. Just says aged no less than 2 years. So there we go. Batch, finish, wood, proof 113. It is a young whiskey, but it's really good. So anyway, I'm going to show you that bottle. So I call this almost perfect because again, I use 2 ounces of that whiskey. I use a half ounce of the Grisotti sweet vermouth, but instead of a dry vermouth, I use a half ounce of the Dolan Blanc, adding just a hint of sweetness, but some herbal notes as well. So with the garnish, I chose to go with a traditional cherry for a Manhattan, but I also went with a charred candied orange. I had a candied orange that I took a torch to. Oh gosh, that's gorgeous. Bear with me just for a second here. My apologies for that. I went blank on my bitters for a second, so I used the bitter cube root beer bitter. That's why I went kind of way out of the box for this one, adding those extra herbal notes and that little bit of sassafras, the wintergreen. So again, the Swiss Grass whiskey, Grossotti Sweet vermouth, Dolan Blanc vermouth, and then the bitter cube root beer bitters. I went way out of the box for this one. The almost perfect Manhattan. I like that because, like I said earlier, nothing is ever perfect. Well, everybody wants perfect, but nothing is ever perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect anything. So you can name a drink a perfect Manhattan, but is it really? So here I have the aptly named almost perfect. Oh, gotcha. That's nice though. I love those big herbal notes. I bought them. I bought those root beer bitters a while back, not having an idea what to do with them. I've tried them in different things, but I haven't really found a home. Most of the other bitters, I figured out what to do with them and why it makes sense. But the root beer, I haven't. And I've tried them in a few different things. This is the one thing that makes the most sense because I like those big herbal notes that kind of plays off of the Dolan Blanc a little bit, but also the big bold notes of the switchgrass American single malt. Now they tell you to look for notes of honey, tobacco, and pecan, but there's so much more going on. There's big dark chocolate notes in there, malted dark chocolate. I'm going to put a finer point on it. You do get the honey, you do get the tobacco, but tobacco, I'm going to put an even finer point on it and say cigar tobacco. Pecan, yeah, but again, I'm going to put a slightly finer point on it and say uh, roasted tobacco notes. I mean, roasted pecan notes, I mean to say. It's just such a big, bold whiskey. I was trying to think of the right cocktail to try to figure out. I said, okay, but what if I did this and this? And it's one of those things you never know until you try. Some things are a monumental failure, but you can't be afraid to try because you never know when that possibility of a strikeout turns into a home run. And I almost feel like that's what I've done here because I was worried about the the contrast, but everything with that bold whiskey with the combination of the sweet vermouth, the blanc, and then those root beer bitters, it somehow works in this great big, home run kind of way. And I will admit, it's not going to be one of those drinks that everybody loves. But there are those that are going to go, oh, hell no. You did what, Tom? Yeah, somehow it works, man. But yeah, I mean, it is the flavors, the palate is big and bold. And, oh man, it is just delicious. If I was pairing this with food, what would I pair it with? Well, I'll be honest. I don't know that I would pair this with a dinner because this drink is more of a digestive anyway. But having tasting it right now, I would really, I mean, seriously, pair this with pecan pie. And once again, to overuse a phrase one more time, to put an even finer point on it, a chocolate pecan pie. Because a chocolate note, oh man, would really bring out everything this cocktail has to offer. Especially with those nutty pecan notes. I wouldn't pair this with anything light. I mean, it's got to be that big bold dessert. I wouldn't pair with the creme brulee because I think it would eat it up. But a big bold chocolate pecan pie. Oh yeah, baby. Now we're talking. That's what Daddy like, man. Oh man, that's delicious. There are times I feel like I'm that idiot savant. I'm no good at anything else but this. Coming up with that cocktail that I know nobody else will come up with. Hey, I feel pretty good about that. Nobody else will think of that flavor combination, Tom. I'm that idiot savant. I tell folks I'm an alcohol savant. Oh man, I love being a bartender. I gotta tell you, can't be hard work. Ain't gonna lie, but I don't have that incredible manager stress that I once had way back when. And I love coming up with new ideas. And like I said earlier, not everything I come up with works. Not everything anybody comes up with works. But the thing is, you can't be afraid to try. No matter how bold you think the idea is, give it a shot because you never know if it's going to work or not. And safe is safe. Safe sometimes, okay, everybody likes safe, but sometimes safe is just safe. You gotta get beyond that. Everybody can do safe. It takes a serious palate to go for bold, man. But I will admit, in all honesty, only a true Manhattan lover is going to like this, and probably only 7 out of 10 true Manhattan lovers are going to go, "Oh shit, I get it." Because again, those flavors are bold. Not everybody's going to try to use an American single malt in its capacity, and then going with the idea of a perfect but not perfect. Combining the sweet vermouth and the blanc vermouth, and then the root beer bitters. I mean, everything in here is bold, so it's not going to work for everybody. I'm going to admit that freely, but I do dare to say that those that get it are really going to like. It's like those big bold foods. Not everybody's going to like it, but those that do go, holy crap! Not every customer is going to order it, but those that do are going to order it every time because you're the only one that's got it. Uh, Gosh, that's delicious, though. I got to tell you, that really is. So I came up with a cocktail number two kind of on the fly. This is one I really spent a lot of time with because I was really trying to figure out something with that whiskey with the idea of a perfect Manhattan, but not a perfect Manhattan. So I did spend some time with it. But then I had to come up with a cocktail number two. So I went out using the same whiskey. I made some cardamom simple for my wife earlier today, mostly for her teas and stuff. But I thought, well, what if I did that? Do an old fashioned, use that same whiskey, try do an old fashioned with, but again in a slightly different manner. So the next cocktail is going to be the same whiskey, some cardamom simple, cardamom bitters, and I call that cocktail Spice Out instead of Peace Out. Get it? Spice Out. Anyways, so let me finish this up. I'm gonna go grab that second cocktail for you. All right, so I call this one Spice Out. What it is that exact same whiskey, but I made some cardamom simple for my wife. How did you make that, Tom? Well, my wife picked up some cardamom at that health food store that I did tasting at earlier today. So again, I used some of that, equal parts raw sugar water. Just let it steep. But then I also had cardamom bitters. So I decided to use the cinnamon stick and the cherry for the garnish. And gosh, that is delicious, man. But even though I use equal parts sugar and water, just like I always do, it's the cardamom. It doesn't feel as sweet as most old fashions would, even though I use 2 ounces of the whiskey, 1 ounce of the simple. That cardamom isn't allowing too much sweet to go through, and I used about 3 dashes of some cardamom bitters. So you really feel those big, bold spice notes here. And once again, I'm going to say this isn't going to be a cocktail for everybody. You got to want a bold cocktail to like this one, and I do. I think I really like it a lot. But if you don't like cardamom, it's not going to be for you. So that kind of narrows that pool down a little bit. So do you like cardamom? No, okay. If you like cardamom, I think this might be the cocktail for you. But I'll tell you why I like it. A lot of it is, unfortunately, this isn't a whiskey choice that I can use at work. So if I try to make it at work, I'd have to tailor the whiskey. Unfortunately, I think that's one of the reasons it works, at least for me, is how bold that whiskey is, right? Those big, they talk about honey, pecan, tobacco, but I also mentioned dark chocolate. Those big, bold notes stand up to the cardamom, right? So you need a big, bold whiskey to make it work. And you got to have a palate, man. You got to have a big bowl. I like strong flavors kind of palate. But this isn't going to work for millennial chicken palate or chicken tender palate, right? If you grew up on Lunchables and chicken tenders, no, this is not going to be the cocktail for you. But if you grew up like myself, having to palate tuna casserole and Vienna sausages right out the can, meatloaf, Jello molds, and yeah, who knows? Well, the stuff we ate in the 70s, oh my God. It's amazing some of us are still alive, I got to tell you. I will tell you that our lockers in junior high school were outside. I grew up in California. Our lockers were outside. Mine were facing the sun the better portion of the time, almost the whole time I was in school. Or we were in class, I should say, maybe. So, anyway, so you took your lunch in a paper bag. It sat in that hot locker for about 4 hours before you got to lunch. Now, that's before most of us knew about any kind of food safety whatsoever. But I'm talking about having a ham sandwich, a tuna sandwich, sitting in a hot locker for 4 hours. It's amazing I'm still alive, to be honest with you. But it also could be the reason I am still alive. It could be the reason I survived COVID because I'm immune to every damn thing. If this, nothing's going to kill you, Tom. Just high blood pressure and obesity, everything else is going to pass you by. Having said that, I am trying to be semi-humorous. I am obese. I will admit to that, and I'm trying to lose some weight. But I don't have high blood pressure. I really don't. I am on a blood pressure medication, but a rather minimal dose. And so when I shed that stressful job to just become a bartender, hey man, everything's gravy. So now I'm going to lose some weight. I'm going to live my best life in my old age for the 10, 20 years I got left. Let's hope it's closer to 20 than 10, but you never know. My dad had a lot of things wrong with him, and he lived to 76. That's what always makes me wonder when I see a celebrity die at like 69 or I mean, what the hell? You got access to great medical care. My dad got turned away by doctor after doctor. This guy had everything wrong with him. Still lived to 76. Which brings me to what the fuck happened to Roger Waters? I mean, at one time he was a decent human being. Now he's talking, he's being intentionally and openly disrespectful of Ozzy. Why would he do that? I mean, have the opinions you have about everything else, but why would you talk bad about Ozzy now that he's dead? I mean, come on, man. I mean, what kind of an asshole are you? I mean, damn, Roger, I've been trying hard to like you, but when you said that shit about Ozzy, I'm done. I got nothing. I won't listen to a damn Pink Floyd song ever again on purpose. And why I say on purpose, sometimes stuff comes on at work or when I'm with a friend. I can't change that. But if I have the ability to change it now, I'm not going to listen to a damn thing you're involved in because you're a prick. And I've been trying to defend you about certain things you've done. But when you talk that nonsense about Ozzy, I mean, I'm done. It's over. You can't talk shit about Ozzy and say, okay, no, no. I hope nobody ever listens to a damn thing you say or sing again. You fucking prick. Anyways, how do you really feel, Tom? That's all I got. Anyways, on that note, I'm going to end it. Cardamom good, Roger Waters prick. As long as we're clear on everything. I am Tom. Let me get that out of there. I am Tom, the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and oh gosh, that is a nice drink now. I really like those flavors together. What's interesting though for me is I'm trying to figure it out because I make a lot of simple syrups and the ratio is always the same. But using the cardamom, it's the first time I've tried to make a cardamom. Those spice notes of that cardamom really come up and it makes that sweet not so sweet. So I'm really interested in the. I mean, I'm not smart enough to understand the science, but I'm really interested in it. Now I'm thinking, huh? I like that ratio, but those spice notes really make that sweet, not so sweet, right? It's the same sweet as everything else, but boy, that cardamom brings something else to the table. Anyways, I digress. One more time with feeling, I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and all around good guy. So thanks for tuning in. One more time, cardamom good, Roger Waters asshole. Go ahead and sue me, Roger. You won't get a damn dime. I'm poor, I'm broke, and you're still an asshole.